Bookworms, welcome to the Weekend Readers Book Club. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, we are discussing the book that was voted, I'm going to say has been deemed or voted, I don't know if it got voted in, one of the best children's books of all time. Yes, we are reviewing and discussing Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. So, if you have never read Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, a summary of the book is a little girl, Alice, sitting on the hill, relaxing, sees a rabbit, follows rabbit into a hole. Alice is then transported into another weird, wacky world where she can talk to animals, change her sizes, goes on an adventure, and then at the end of it, she wakes up and it was somewhat all a dream. But was it? It is a adventure story aimed at children, as I said, deemed one of the greatest children's books of all time. So it's iconic in that sense that it's deemed one of the greats. So I have read Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, and here are my thoughts and review of the story itself. Now, I'm going to admit, this is my first time reading Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. I never read it as a child. I don't recall reading it ever. And I know of the movies, I know the rough pretense of how the movies went. So somewhat following along with the book, I was very surprised at how much I remembered and how much I didn't remember. Now, with saying that, can we all just, be real for a moment and state this book is just one big trip, right? Lewis Carroll took something, sat on the couch, had an experience. This was the experience that he had, and he turned it into a children's novel, and we're going, hey, children, read this awesome book. This book is, I'm going to say batshit crazy, but batshit crazy in the sense that there is so many wacky stuff in this book, and I get that it's fantasy, but let's be honest, the dude was wazzed out of his brain when he wrote this book, because that's the only way you can explain the book that you got, which is Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. Overall, the storytelling of the book, it's easy enough to follow. It is written, not oldish, but it's you can tell it's been written in a different time than something, say, mass-produced in 2024 or early 2000s or the 90s or even 80s to that degree. So you take it with a grain of salt. So overall story was okay. We got through it. We got to the end. However, reading the story, I'm like, this is just one big trip. And this seriously, did the dude, I have so many questions. I'm envisioning the dude just getting super blazed and baked off his head, having this epiphany, write it into a book, going, hey children, made a book for you. It absolutely goes wild and becomes one of the greatest books of all time. And to a degree, it's just the biggest troll of all time, in the sense that this ain't a kid's book. It's just him going on some LSD trip through the universe, seeing writing down what was in his mind and what he saw on the paper, and he just allowed everybody to enjoy the ride with him. I'm standing by that. Now, reading the book, did I enjoy it? No, not really. It was pretty basic. I won't say the story was boring, but I get it. It wasn't aimed at me. It was aimed at a child. So it was it is what it is. I was happy that I read it, but did I enjoy reading it? No. Because it left, I just had so many questions about this book. Alice sees a rabbit, and the rabbit goes down a rabbit hole. Now, in the book, Alice follows the rabbit into a rabbit hole. Then she falls down the well. Now, how the hell did Alice fit into the rabbit hole to start with? I don't know. Like, do we explain that? Or we just skim over the fact? Or are we just like, she did. Why? Because we all on drugs. So it doesn't matter. It makes the story better. But whatever. It is what it is. Yo, the drink me, eat me stuff. Kids, don't drink or eat anything that you don't know what it is. And if you see something that says eat me and you have no idea what it is, don't eat it. Don't drink it either. Don't do drugs either. Like, seriously. Like, I get it. Different time, different place, fantasy. But, like, we just gonna put shit in the mouth that we don't know what it is and we just hope for the best? Yeah. It's like the pod challenge from, like, 2020 on TikTok all over again. Oh, my gosh. In chapter 5, we met a worm. The worm was eating mushrooms. Enough said. In this book, we meet animals galore. We meet a rabbit, a caterpillar, a pig, cat, some feet men, cards that are kings and queens and sergeants, Mad Hatter. And then somehow, like all those things I remember from the movie, but somehow we ended up having a conversation with a goddamn turtle and a large bird. I don't recall that from the movies. Either I've completely forgotten about it, or it wasn't included, or I've completely forgotten about it, which is probably right, but I don't know. But there was a huge tortoise in this book, and I'm like, didn't see that coming, so that surprised me. Overall, I mean, the story, as I said, I didn't enjoy it. Like, it's a decent, like, I can't even say, like, this book was not for me. I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I experienced it. But, like, I don't get the hype with this being one of the greatest children's book of all time. I just don't. I feel that potentially there could be a lot more better stuff to read. But then I had the feelings I have in relation to this book, besides the fact that I am surely positive that this dude was cooked out of his mind when he wrote this book. I am pretty, like, the reaction I'm having to this book, I had the similar reaction to Wizard of Oz, where I didn't enjoy it. Like, I get that it's been transferred into a movie, and I may enjoy the movies and the other media type of adaptions that they have been turned into, but the actual book itself, I just don't enjoy it. And it could just be simply the fact that it has been written in a different time period than what we are used to now. But in saying that, yeah, Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, have you made our bookshelf? The answer is no. I'm not even going to keep you to pass you on to my children to read, because I just think this book is completely nutty as batshit. And I will pass it on to somebody if they want to read it. But yeah, Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, you have not made my bookshelf. And yeah, I understand that there is a part 2 to this book, but nope, not going to read it. So as it customs here on the Weekend Readers, as one book closes, another book has to open. And it is now time to find out what the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club is. And Bookworms, we can confirm that the next read is Jasper Jones by Craig Silvey. Now, Jasper Jones, this book, my book guy, shout out Brian. Brian gave me this book, and his conditions were, don't read the back blurb, don't Google it, don't do anything, just go into this blind. I want to know what you think about it. And I was like, okay, I'm up for a challenge. So I have no idea what this book is about. So Jasper Jones by Craig Silvey, you are the next read. I have no idea what to expect. And I have going into it completely blind. And I know it is a major motion picture because it says so on the front cover. It says the iconic Australian bestseller, now a major motion picture. So it's an Australian book. Hey, who knew? But yeah, we're going to give it a go. Jasper Jones, Craig Silvey, you are the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club. So Bookworms, that was my review and discussion of Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, a book that I didn't enjoy. I read it, I got through it. I'd probably prefer to see the movie. I'm intrigued to see the newer version of it, which they made, I think Johnny Depp stars in it. I don't believe I've actually seen that version, but I think after reading the book, that might be the better version to go to see how trippy it is. In the sense, because this book here, like, you read the book, and as I said, it just comes across as somebody having a vision or a moment in time and just jotting everything down that they have experienced or are thinking while their body and mind is in a different state from what it normally is in. And then from there, they've just gone, right. When they've sobered up, they've gone, cool, this is the story, let's put it all together. So yeah, that was my review and rant of Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. So Bookworms, until next time, thank you again for joining us, and happy reading.